Okay, excellent. Welcome everyone to today's webinar, Mastering Reporting and Gaining Insights in Accounts IQ. We're delighted to see so many of you joining us today and really reflects the growing interest and enthusiasm that people have about gaining more insights and value from their reporting module. This topic actually came about from our account managers, Keith, Paddy and Chris, who have highlighted that reporting is one of the most common areas customers ask about. So today's session is really designed to give you clarity, practical guidance and a clearer understanding of the reporting options available. Okay. Sorry, it's like next slide. So before we get started, I just wanted to introduce our speakers in today's session. So I'm Danielle Cahill, I'm Head of Partnerships with AccountsIQ, and I'm currently working very closely with the account management team who are, as we mentioned earlier, supporting our customers and helping them getting the most out of the platform. We're delighted to have to be joined by Stephen Lowry from Accord Business Solutions. So Stephen will be sharing his story and how he uses AccountsIQ's reporting functionality and also how it has impacted his day-to-day working life. We also have Helen and Zaina from our pre-sales team. Many of you will have met Helen and Zaina throughout your AccountsIQ journey. They work very closely with our customers, mostly our new joining customers, and that gives them a really strong perspective on how finance teams are using financial systems and what they are keen to get out of the systems essentially. Okay, so with that, we're going to go straight over to Stephen and we're going to have a little bit of an insight into his journey with Accord. So Accord is one of our customers and more recently has also become a partner of AccountsIQ. So I'm going to hand over to Stephen and ask a couple of questions. Could you give us a bit of an insight into your AccountsIQ journey, your business, your organization, and what got you looking at AccountsIQ essentially?
Perfect. Yes. Thanks, Danielle. And thanks for inviting me along today to the webinar. So I'll just give you a very quick, brief background on Accord and who we are.
Brilliant.
Accord, we are 48 strong as it stands just now. We should be 49 on Monday, in actual fact, with a new member of the team joining us. We're headquartered in Inverness, way up in the very north of Scotland. So it gives us some challenges when it comes to visiting our clients, but we love it up here. So Accord we work in the technology sector. We have our own software that we've developed right from the ground up. It's called Flow. It's a project job costing software. Maybe come back to that later when we talk about the integration with AccountsIQ. Yeah. We have a Power Platform team. So we've got a team of developers that are specifically there to develop within the Microsoft Power Platform. Again, Power BI being a huge part of that. And hopefully we will talk about that later on in the webinar. We've got managed IT support. That's something that's close to my heart. That's where I started my career in managed IT support. And I was the managed services director for Accord before moving into my business development role. And we also do information security and cyber assurance. We are really proud to be part of the wider Envoy group of companies. So Envoy are an organisation, again, headquartered in Inverness, but have businesses across the UK. So as part of Envoy Group, I've probably got over 3,000 colleagues across the UK, which is really super, working in various different industries, but quite heavily towards the engineering and manufacturing sector. So that's the Envoy Group. We were this very, very small IT support part of Envoy when we started. So there's only about 2 or 3 of us, but as part of the Envoy way, we've then now grown to be our own company, rebranded as Accord, and we're now bringing in our own customers and working outside of the group, which is super. I think it's really important to touch on when it comes to Accord, and this really lends into why AccountsIQ and why we made some decisions. Our organisation is built in the foundation of servant leadership. It's fundamental to our businesses that's how we work. And, we flip the org chart on its head and the most senior people of the business at the bottom of the org chart. And then the people doing the work, doing the day-to-day work are right there at the top because they are the people that have the ability to deliver to our customers the best. And also the business is based around this chunking idea. So we chunk each business down into small individual P&Ls. So giving sort of the P&L leaders the ownership of their own P&L. And again, as we talk about AccountsIQ and why we made the shift there, that was a hugely important thing for us when we do that within our businesses.
That probably leads into the dimensional structure within AccountsIQ as well, Stephen, having those P&Ls and being able to split them out. That's exactly what our dimensional structure allows you to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if you just look at Accord as itself, we're chunked into 4 different P&Ls. So, and you can see them at the top there. So there's a P&L for each of those business units, and each profit and loss leader can run their own accounts and run their own finance and have their own data at their fingertips to make their own decisions. And I think it's really important. It's powerful for us to be able to do that. Yeah. So if I jump over to my next slide, Danielle, if you
Yeah.
don't mind.
Yeah. So I guess this is kind of bringing us into how you moved across to Accounts IQ, the issues you had, and where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, so if we go back to being part of the Envoy group, one of the challenges that the group brought to us as Accord was to identify a finance package that was better than the one that we had before. Quite as easy as that. And a lot of businesses and a lot of people on your webinar today will have been through this journey of making that
Hmm.
switch. Now, it's not an easy switch. It's quite a big thing to do. One of the things, so I've just jotted down some of the stuff. So I spoke to our financial leadership within the business and talked about some of those things that brought them to that. So fragmented reporting across entities. So consolidation is not easy with our old system. When it came to the group of companies or the group of business units within it, it was very, very difficult to consolidate that together. The real-time visibility, we just couldn't get the data. We need to be able to make decisions really fast. We want to give the profit and loss leaders within the business the ability to make that decision when they need to make it. So that was really important to do that. Still a heavy reliance on spreadsheets. That's what we had. You had your financial data in the system there, but then you were extracting it into a spreadsheet and then manipulating it in there. So that was the data was effectively just being copied into multiple different places, and different people had different opinions. So we just needed that. Sorry to use the phrase, one source of the truth, if you like.
Yeah.
Month-end process was very difficult. As managed service director within the business, I went through that every single month, and our month-end processes were 4 or 5 days long, trying to consolidate our own accounts and trying to move, costs to various different places and things. So that was difficult for us. And then that limited analysis. This is really important when I go back to talking about chunking the business or having different P&Ls within each business. So if we couldn't analyze our data, if we couldn't get that information, and it's relating back to some other points nice and quickly, we were really struggling in order to make those business decisions. So that's what led us to going out and talking to Accounts IQ. And really importantly as well, and probably most importantly, is we had to find a solution and a system that tied into our project job costing system called Flow. That was really important for us because that's our ERP, and we needed to bring something in and put a system in there that could really tie in, link in really neatly to allow us to then report across both systems. And Accounts IQ was the answer for us.
Yeah, and it sounds like, with all your multiple companies within and the Envoy group, the fact that you're able to break them down, as you said, with the project department, your all your different chunks, you can report on the smaller groups
Yep.
essentially, and then you can obviously then consolidate them all and look at the Envoy group all together using our consolidation. So,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's great.
And there's a huge range there as well, because if you think within Accord, one of our pieces within Accord, one of the business units, it might turn over maybe, 600,000 or 700,000 pounds in a year. Whereas if you go to some of the larger organizations within the group, and even the chunks within those larger
Yeah.
organizations, they're 20, 30, 40, 50 million. So we've
Okay.
got a system that we can range from the very small up to the exceptionally big.
Yeah, and then the reporting spans all of those different types, which is
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, super. I think as we go along and Helen and Zaina kind of dive into the product and talk through some of the reporting, and I know Helen's going to go into some more of the advanced reporting capabilities. Are you okay, Stephen, to jump in and just talk about some of the reports that you use
Of
and
course. Yeah.
as we go through the demo essentially, and then we'll bring you back in as well for the Q&A at the end, and then maybe see if you can offer some hints and tips and advice for people who are looking to get more out of the reporting functionality of Accounts IQ.
No problem at all. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Stephen, and obviously with Accord and the services that you provide, you're kind of the perfect person to have on this call because you use both kind of the in-house reporting tools within Accounts IQ, but then you've also developed this whole Power BI element within that data as well. So yeah, jump in kind of at any point and give your
Thanks, Helen.
experience.
Yeah, super. So just before I hand over to Zaina, I just was going to spend just a quick minute on our recent financial CFO mindset report that we've released. If you haven't downloaded it already, it's worth just taking a look at it. So you can, I don't know whether I'd be able to do this, but you can scan it on your phone and get the QR code and download the report directly. But it's a really useful report to give you some insights. So we spoke to, if you see here, over 1,000 senior professionals, that's CFOs, head of finances, finance directors, and across the industry. And these are all across different sectors. So we had some technology, private equity, hospitality, all different sectors, professional services as well, and all of them employing staff between kind of 20 and 250 staff. So with this, they gave us some insights onto how, we did some extensive surveying to them, and we got some insights on their data, their reporting, and there's just some key takeaways here that are showing from it. So we're saying that 65% say that decisions were made without sufficient data, and I think that's such a key thing with reporting as well. So it's just obviously, you have to have a system organized and all the reporting in it, but it is all about that rubbish in, rubbish out. So it's all about making sure that the quality of data, the integrity of data is all being run and, it's been brought into the system correctly and accurately, essentially. So that's obviously a key thing as well. But then, as obviously, once you take it into the system, it's all about then reviewing it and analyzing it and bringing that information out into a readable format for your board, your different, your different teams, your budget holders and everything, so that they can interpret that data and the reports and then make those key decisions. So, as I mentioned, if you haven't downloaded the report already, please feel free to download it now, and we'll also send a link to the download in our follow-up email following this session. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Zaina, who's going to then talk us through the system and demo some of the key features of our reporting module within AccountsIQ.
Perfect. Thanks, Danielle. Let me just share my screen. Can you see that okay on your side?
Not yet.
Not yet.
There we go. It's coming to life now.
Perfect.
There you go.
So following from what Danielle said, kind of powerful reporting and analytics really does start with how your setup is, so how your chart of accounts is set up, how your dimensional analysis is set up. And the best place to kind of show you that, just to start off with, is in the GL Explorer. So this is embedded in the general ledger of the platform. It's a nice way to see your quick reports, so your profit and loss, your balance sheet, and your trial balance. You can view that three-tier chart of account structure from here. You can view it period, year to date, and you can compare your data sets. So you can compare your actuals versus your budgets or a revised budget in here.
And this is a really powerful reporting tool. And I was actually on a call with an internal client a couple of days ago, and they didn't know about this screen. And that was like surprising to me, because it's one of kind of the most used screens within the system. So for new users of AccountsIQ, I know we have kind of a diverse set of customers on this call, but this is a really, really good tool to get to your data quickly and to be able to pull that out as efficiently as possible.
Exactly, because from this screen, you can see kind of that analysis structure set up here. So obviously we have that 6 customizable dimensions that you can use to analyze across any areas of your business. In this demo data set, we have 4. We see typical clients use 3 to 4 dimensions. So we've got departments, locations, projects, and revenue stream. And it just means from this screen, I can slice and dice my P&L data by my projects. So if I just do Project Alpha and apply filters, I'll really quickly get that P&L for that project.
And that's exactly what Stephen, sorry, Zane, that's exactly what Stephen was speaking about, being able to split that down by your different business units. And different areas of the business have kind of that drill down ability to get to the data that they need. And you can do this across kind of different areas of the system, but this is kind of the quickest way of doing it. And if you're not utilizing dimensions within AccountsIQ, it's really something you should look at, because I speak to clients and they don't have dimensions set up, and they're pulling data out to Excel, and they're manually drilling down into that data to get to that business unit, department, location, revenue stream level. So definitely reach out to either your account manager or somebody in our support team if that's something that you'd like to set up, but you would just want more information about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really powerful because it gives you kind of potential of up to 6 layers of analysis on top of that 3-tier chart of accounts. So on this screen, kind of anything in blue, you have instant drill down ability to the transaction detail below it. And these screens, I'll come back to this in a minute, but these screens, they can be fully customizable and you can apply filters on them as well. So once you've run your P&L and sliced and diced it by the project or the department or business unit that you need, really quickly to take it out of the system into Excel, PDF, and Word. Perfect. So another great reporting tool, which I think is kind of underrated, in my opinion, are the grid screens in AccountsIQ. So these grid screens, if you look at the top right here, you can see you can add and remove columns. So you can get a customized view based on each user and drag and drop different fields into here. Each of these fields you can customize as well. So you can filter down into, so I can actually group my supplier accounts into groupings, into account groups. So if I want a filtered view for contractors, for example, I can filter for contractors and it will just give me a condensed view of that. There's also some smart filterings already kind of applied here. So I can just view suppliers which have outstanding balances or overdue invoices, and you can apply advanced filters as well. And then your filtered view, you can just export out into CSV.
And those kind of groups, they span across the purchase and the sales side. And sometimes they're missed, but they can be really powerful reporting tools as well if you want to be able to kind of split your suppliers out into those different groups. And when you move on to the bulk payment part of the system as well, you have the ability then to filter your outstanding invoices that you want to include in that particular payment by those different groups. So it can be really powerful. And in your aging reports also, if you print your age debtors or your age creditors report, you have the ability to split it out by group. So when you actually run that report, it will be split out onto different tabs. So you can have your contractors, your employees, your overhead, whatever it might be.
Yeah, exactly. Another screen, which is great, which leads from the grid screen, is the transaction browser. So this is probably one of the most used screens in the system. It gives you the global view of all transactions in the platform. Again, you'll be able to filter the grid screen based on what fields you want. You can filter down on these columns as well. So if you just want to be looking at purchase invoices or by currency, you can do so. But what's nice is you'll be able to save those filter conditions here. So I've created all the purchase invoices, which I, Zaina, have posted. So I can apply that filter and it will just generate that for me. And I can easily export it out of the platform. Moving on to kind of
Again,
dashboards, yeah.
that's our most used screen in the system. So any transactions that you want to view, if you want to go in and I just want to see purchase invoices for a particular supplier, and then being able to kind of drill down into the attachments of those invoices from there, that's a really, really good screen for that. And the configuration of your grid screens, that's by user. So each user logging into the system might want to have a different view. They might not want to see like as many columns as Zaina has on that particular screen there, but they can customize it and drag and drop different columns in that suits them, or that's going to give them a very quick export out just of the information that they need.
Yeah, exactly. I think that attachment point is really valuable as well. So it's kind of a central manager of all their attachments to any journals, working files, invoices.
Yeah, and you can see it also on the left-hand side, which also really relates to reporting, is there's flags there, and they mean that there's been an edit on that transaction. So somebody has gone in and edited that transaction since it was raised. And that can be good for reporting. You can sort it by your flags to see how many transactions have been flagged as being edited. And that can be a really good training tool as well, because if incorrect GL codes were being entered and they had to be updated, or incorrect analysis codes, you can quickly see, and you can pull the user in there as well to see, okay, we might need to do further training on where things are tagged within the system. So that can be kind of a little internal reporting tool also.
Yeah, exactly. On the dashboards, so we've got this suite of dashboards, the sales, purchase, and general ledger dashboards. Now, these dashboards, you don't have to kind of grant them access to all users. You can say, okay, this user who works in AP a lot, we can give them the accounts payable dashboard. On this AP dashboard here, you'll be able to see that you can view your aging by due date or by period date. And then it also brings in that supplier grouping that we spoke about earlier. So you can just view your accounts payable dashboard by your employee expenses or just by your contractors. And then you'll see they're really dynamic and intuitive. So I can just select this supplier with my top 10 supplier list, and I'll get an AP dashboard just for Apex supplies. I can filter by credit terms, payment methods as well. And then all these reports are fully exportable. So if you want to report on it outside the system, you can. Some more great dashboards, so the financial overview one to get your key kind of finance metrics, your income year to date, your gross profit year to date. And again, I can configure it by period and I can compare it to last year's actuals or budget. And then again, bring in that analysis structure. You can slice and dice these dashboards based on that. So if you just want a financial overview based on a certain business user unit or department or project, you can kind of filter it to get the insight you need from here. And then you can layer them as well. So if you just wanted to see the departments under those projects, you can do so. Another key one is that profit and loss dashboard. So again, you can configure it by period, you choose your comparisons and then slice and dice it. But then you get this net profit split, which is a great kind of visual here. So you can see your profit split across your different projects, across your different departments or locations, or however you're kind of setting up your analysis structure.
I'm just going to bring in a question, Zaina, from Tim on this. And Tim asked, can visibility of the different dimensions be restricted down to certain individuals? So that's a really good question, Tim. Not at the moment. So at the moment, you can kind of choose the dimensions that you want to view. With the user access, you can restrict, obviously, what a user can see and do within the system through the menu profiles. But it's on our roadmap. So I think it's Q1 next year, we will give you the ability to basically restrict different areas of the system down by those different dimensions. So no matter what report a user is in, it can be restricted down to that user. So like that, if it's a budget area, budget holder, or a department, when they're viewing either a dashboard like this, or whether they're viewing the transaction browser or the GL Explorer, that will be restricted down by that particular user.
And do you know, just jumping on that, because I know Zaina started off with this, the importance of dimensions and getting that right and making sure that you have them set up right. It's so key, isn't it? Because how you kind of run through these dashboards and the flexibility of jumping from one to the other, then with added security as well on visibility and restrictions, it's just so important that that is done correct from, and it's mapped out so people can use it.
And I worked on the implementation team before I came over into this current role, and it's the two most important things that you'll do during an implementation is structure your chart of account and your analysis. And it all feeds back down to that end goal reporting. So how Zaina was able to filter down by departments or projects or locations, every business is different, and there's different areas of the business that's going to be important for them to be able to drill down into. So it comes back again to the dimensional analysis. Like if you think yours needs tweaked or you want to add a couple of more dimensions on, if you're currently doing stuff manually outside of the system, that's something you should really look at, because your data is only as good, your data out of the system is only as good as what you put in, and that structure really contributes to that.
Yeah. Another dashboard, speaking about kind of data that you can be plugging into the platform, is our non-financial KPI dashboards. So we've recently brought this out into the platform so you can track your non-financial data against your financial data. Now, this is a very basic one that we've set up. So we've input our non-financial metrics, the details against it per period, and we can also kind of slice and dice all that non-financial data based on the analysis structure as well. So this is a basic one, but there is potential to make it kind of industry specific. So this is one for a SaaS company. where you can kind of define what metrics you want and how you want them to be calculated, how you want it to be displayed. And then, of course, you can share those dashboards onto your business users who want kind of that reporting insight. So as you can see, we've got kind of financial, non-financial detail, marketing detail, sales, customer success. And then I'm also able to see that and kind of map maybe my new logos build against my turnover, for example. Again, you can configure it by period, compare it to kind of a budget. So you can set a budget against your non-financial data and then apply the analysis structure on there.
Yeah, and that's something new that we introduced into the system. I think it was kind of a month or so ago. All the details of that, it's either in your notifications tab, you'll see kind of the release info for that, or if you go into your help hub and if you go into the help articles, if you just search non-financial data in there, it will kind of give you a step-by-step guide of how to set that up within the system. And this particular one dashboard, this SaaS metrics one, was created by our bespoke reporting team, and they are available. So if you wanted a bespoke report built or you wanted a bespoke dashboard and you wanted that embedded within the system, the service is within My Accounts IQ. So you can go in and you can request a bespoke dashboard or report, give them an example, a little bit of context on what you want to create. They'll scope that out and they'll come back to you. So if there's something, or even it might be only a little tweak to one of these dashboards that you want to add an extra column or an extra filter in there. We have that team available within Accounts IQ to help you do that.
Yeah, I think especially kind of the financial overview one as well. If you kind of want a different metric on there, the reporting team can
Yeah,
definitely help with that.
yeah, definitely.
On the reports, so we have the 250 reports, obviously over 250 reports, I think by now. And obviously all those reports provide kind of a lot of reporting requirements. And obviously you're not going to be using all of them. So it's just about finding the reports that match your needs best. We did do some kind of insight into kind of what the most used reports were, and I favorited them over here. So this is just a nice insight for everyone just to see kind of what your peers are using at the moment. Some key reports. I think, Stephen, you said you use extended business analysis a lot, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely. It's a huge part of what we do.
Yeah, perfect. So, and you do it by kind of your business units.
Yes, yeah. So I think it's just the ability to have that ability to see your revenue and your costs on one screen,
Yeah,
and then break that down by the business unit. So then we
yeah,
can sort of narrow it down to just one business unit, or perhaps we can look at a collection of the business units together, and just really to get that analysis of how we're performing. Yeah,
yeah,
really
exactly.
powerful for us.
So on these reports, you can view which categories you want. So you can kind of have your whole kind of P&L and balance sheet categories on here. You can view it at a summarized or detailed GL code level of detail as well. And again, you'll be able to compare it to a budget. So you can kind of be tracking each of those business units against that budget.
I think that's just a point just on the tracking against the budget. When Helen talked about, the data you put in gives you your better data out. I think it's really
Mm,
important, certainly for us, and any recommendation is get your budget in there. Absolutely.
yeah,
Take the time to set that budget so you can put it in there. And then when you're looking at this report and you can analyze your performance against budget, it helps a lot. It helps a huge.
100%. Yeah. And just with these reports, you can take them out to full screen view. So if you want them in a separate tab, you can do so. You can kind of work away in the platform, have that report ready to go for you to refresh it.
Yeah, I
And
like that feature. That was
yeah,
something new that came out when we upgraded the report manager. And the fact that you can kind of run reports that you would look at throughout a day, for example, and have them open in your browser and not have to go
yeah,
back and set the parameters and rerun them again.
rerun
Like
it.
you can
Yeah,
just leave them open and refresh them as you need to.
yeah, exactly. And kind of all these reports, kind of if there is anything in blue, you can drill down to that transaction detail like we saw in the GL Explorer. Any report as well, you can export it into multiple different formats and quite nicely you can email it out. So you don't need to kind of download it, attach it in an email. You can email it out from directly within the system, just tagging a system user, like at Helen.
And something I think to mention as well while we're in this report manager, and I know we have clients on this today that are multi-entity and they have consolidation, that most of these reports are available at consolidation level as well, because all your data is going to feed up to that overall consolidation. So if you have a revenue stream or you have a department and you want to be able to track costs across departments within all your businesses, for like a company like Envoy, that's really important when you have a really kind of high number of entities within the group. So most of what you're going to see is also available at that consolidation level. And those dashboards that Zane has showed as well are at consolidation, and you have an extra layer within the consolidation. So whether it's the GL Explorer, whether it's the Extended Business Analysis report, you can choose the entity you want to run it for. So you can drill down by entity. That'd be kind of an extra parameter that you will have.
Yeah, exactly. So you can just choose which entities you want to view the dashboard, the report, or the GL Explorer for.
Yeah, exactly.
Some other key reports, kind of the management report pack, the profit and loss extended parameters. So in this report, I can kind of build out my own report, choose which columns I want to see in that view. Maybe I want to see kind of all my budgets against last month's or last year's, choose my variance percentages as well. And I can run this report knowing which columns I expect to see. And again, I can export that out. You can choose kind of the logo, the branding on this report, how you want it formatted as well. And then once you take it out of the Excel, take it out to Excel, you'll still kind of keep that drill down ability here.
Yeah, and I think that links back to a question we had around EBITDA, and that report allows you to kind of choose your GL categorizations within there. But different, and if Zane has searched P&L report, there's so many different P&L reports that you can choose from. Like you have your GL Explorer, and that's kind of standard 3 P&L balance sheet trial balance. But then if you want to kind of look at your P&L in a different way, there's so many different P&Ls in there. And the one that Zane just ran is a really configurable one, so that you can choose the columns that you want to show on that report. And it also brings in your logo as well, which is a nice little touch. So if you wanted to add that to a report pack or a management report pack from there. So there's 250 standard reports in the system, and you're never going to use all them reports, okay? You're going to find your key reports that suit you, depending on what you're looking for and how kind of detailed you want that data to be. So it's going through the reports and kind of finding those ones that really suit you, and you can favorite those reports as well, so that they're in your favorites. It will hold the parameters. Somebody asked the question as well about budget. For a budget holder, can you save down the filters? So we'll always save the filters that you have selected. So when Zaina goes back in to run a particular report, it will always have those filters that she has added until she updates them. We do have a budget holder report, and that's when you're using budget holder approval and you have your approvers marked as budget holders. When a budget holder runs that report, it's actually locked down to them. So it will only show details that are associated with them. So that's another one to look at as well. The budget, if you just search budget holder, which one is a purchase commitment report by budget holder, that second one there. So they can look at all their commitments, their actuals, what's processed, not posted, things like that. So that's a nice one if you haven't seen that one before.
Yeah. Another nice one is the age debtors by analysis code, as that means you kind of slice your dice your age debtors report by that analysis structure as well. So on here, I can run it for 29th of November. I'll just choose this BI code to be included. And that will just give me a really filtered view, concentrated view by that BI code to see kind of my age debtors summary from here.
That's probably a report that you don't see currently in your report manager, but if you just send a message either through support or through your account manager, we can get this report added to your environment, because sometimes we have reports that clients request and it's not kind of distributed to everyone, but if someone contacts us, we can add that report to your environment. And like that, anything that you're seeing today, if you can see these reports or dashboards, If you contact your admin user, it could be just something in your menu profile that's unticked, that's not giving you access. So you can contact your admin user, or again, link in with ourselves and we can help you out with that.
Definitely. I'll just show you the management report pack as well. This is a great report as it consolidates kind of 5 to 6 different key reports just into one file ready to export and report on. This is a report we sometimes do see kind of a lot of tweaks on in terms of kind of KPI data, graphs and visuals added to it. What I'll do, I'll export this to Excel, and I'll just show you kind of how that data is exported out. So over here. So we've got, as you can see, all those reports are nicely split out by your tabs. We've got our key KPIs on the front page. And again, kind of do reach out to our reporting team if you want kind of any tweaks to that, any different KPIs listed on here. We've got your net profit versus budget, your net profit versus last year. We've got our P&L month versus budget, our P&L month versus last year, that P&L month forecast. So it's bringing in that budgeted data into the report, your balance sheet, your cash flow statement. And even though we've taken it out of the system, you don't lose that kind of flexibility and drill down. We've got some key sales graphs and overhead graphs, and then your age debtors and age creditors report included.
And this is probably one of our most tweaked reports, because everybody has a kind of different management report pack or board pack that they're trying to build. And if you wanted an extra report added to this, or you wanted one taken out, or you want a whole pack built for yourself, again, that services section, My Accounts IQ and the Help Hub, we'd be happy to help you out with that. And if it's only a small change, like you want to take something out or put something in, it's normally done really, really quickly.
Yeah. Perfect. So that was kind of the core reporting tools in the platform, but I think it would be great to kind of show and for Helen to talk through kind of the OData connection and the reporting capabilities in there.
Yeah, and I think we asked a few questions with the registration of this webinar, and one of them is, do you actively use OData? And very small percentage of people came back to say that they do. So this is why we're obviously adding this into the webinar, and I'm going to give you kind of the basic level of how you could use it and how you can set that up within the system. But anything that I'm showing in the help articles within the Help Hub, it's all covered within there. Or if you have access to the AccountsIQ Academy, that will give you kind of detailed steps in how to create that OData connection as well. So always refer back to that. There's AI in there as well, so you can actually ask it a question and it will give you real life steps too. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. If you want to stop sharing, Zaina.
Yep.
Okay, and you can let me know once you can see that.
Yeah, we can see
Everybody
that.
see that okay? Okay, so OData. What is OData? So what OData does is it allows you to link your AccountsIQ entity to Excel or to Power BI, okay? It's in the company details and settings part of the system. If you go in there and it's under integrations, you can create your credentials from there. But again, within the Help Hub, that will kind of give you really detailed steps on how to do it. So I'm not an expert on Power BI or Excel, but I was very easily able to create these reports outside of the system, literally just using what I'd learned from the academy and also the steps within the Help Hub as well. These are very simple kind of everyday use reports, and we had a lot of questions around that kind of budget holder area. And this is ideal for these people. So users that you necessarily don't want to have in the system, but those users that are maybe emailing you every day, asking for updated figures, or that you have to send an updated report on a monthly basis. So I created the connection within here. So you create your credentials within AccountsIQ, and then you come into Excel, so completely outside of the system. And you can come in, and it's very simple. Data, get data from other sources, And you can see here we have from OData feed. So when you click that from OData field, it's going to ask you for those credentials that you've generated within AccountsIQ. So you'll add in your URL, you'll add in your username and password. And what that will present to you is a list of data sets that are available for you to pull automatically into either Excel or Power BI. So I have a P&L by project here, for example. So I pull the P&L data set into Excel. It will bring you into kind of like a Power Query screen, and you can manipulate that data. So again, budget holders, if they're only dealing with certain GL codes or they're only dealing with certain analysis codes, you can restrict that information before you load the data into Excel. So I kind of took a few different things out. I only chose 2 dimensions to bring in. Initially, I done project, and then just to show for this call, I also brought in revenue stream on this one too. But again, you can bring in your departments, and you can restrict those departments down. Let's say it's IT, that you're creating this report just for the IT manager, for example. You can restrict it down by a particular project, a department, a revenue stream, and that's all will show. So that's where you'll get that restriction as well outside of the system. So once I had all the data cleaned up and everything I wanted included, I literally loaded that to a pivot table. So that pivot table is now in the system, and I put a few filters there so I can filter by my different projects, and I can also filter by my revenue streams and particular periods as well. Once you have this data loaded into the system, you can obviously drill right down to the underlying data from here. So really nice in that scenario if you have an IT manager, for example, and they're looking at their costs and they're wondering where they came from. They can actually drill down and see the detail without having access to that detail within the system. So that's one of the reports I created. Another one is departmental cost analysis report. Exact same kind of format, but I've added a graph in there, and you can kind of, everything you can do in Excel, you can do with this data that you have loaded. And I can filter by, again, this one is IT, but if I want to add a few more departments in there, I can, or I can run it for all departments, for example. Then I have a very simple live debtors aging report and a live age creditors as well. So I've added a couple of slicers in there so I can drill down to particular customers, or this is a nice one if I want to see unallocated sales receipts that are sitting on customer accounts that I might want to allocate. So kind of gives you the idea that you can set this up kind of in any way that you need to. But that can be saved down within your SharePoint or in a secure location. You can give people access to that report that you want to have access. And then you can come in and you can just refresh that report at any time. So we're going to do a live example of this now. So hopefully it works. Yeah. But I'm on the age debtors report at the moment, and I'm going to go into Apex, which is a customer of ours. So you can see they have a balance. They have a 90-day balance of 4481 and then an overall balance of 27530. Zane is in our demo environment, which she's just presented in, and she's going to post the receipt now within that environment. And I'm going to refresh this report. So again, this is sitting outside of the system. It's an Excel report, and I'm going to refresh it, and we can see how that connection works.
Yeah, that's posted now, so it should reduce by 3,000. Yeah.
Okay, so if I go in now and I click refresh, and what you can see down here is that it's connecting to the data source. And that data source is your AccountsIQ entity. So it's going to that entity. It's finding all that transactional detail that has been entered in the system since you have last refreshed that particular report. And it's going to bring in those updated balances. And depending on how many reports that you have in your Excel report, it's obviously going to take a varied amount of time. But you can see that's finished now, and that has reduced down to 24530. So I hope you can see how kind of powerful this is, not only for kind of efficiency. So if the finance team are constantly sending updated reports out to people that you can, or you have that budget that budget holder area where you might want them to have a restricted view. Exactly like what Stephen said, they allow their staff kind of at all levels to be able to see the P&Ls for each of those business units. So this is ideal for scenarios like that. And Accord have done something similar, which I will show you as well. So this is the Excel version. We also have Power. You can also connect through Power BI, which is a Microsoft product, and we have access to that. And we will also give you a template. So when you're on that screen I spoke about in company details and settings where it has the integrations, that gives you an option to download a Power BI template. And this template is exactly what you're seeing here. So you can make the connection, you can load the template, and we'll give you a step-by-step guide how to do that. And you can have basically this report that's sitting in Power BI. And basically like our management report pack, you have a P&L summary, you have a P&L monthly, you have a balance sheet summary, balance sheet monthly, and then you also have a trial balance there as well. So two options. And then if you have the resources within the business that for Power BI, people that are comfortable in Power BI, there's so much more you can do there. And that's where Accord can also help out as well, because they offer services around Power BI. So if you wanted a Power BI pack built, and what's really nice about that is if you're using other front-end systems as well as the finance system, so with Stephen, in your case, it's Flow, you can connect those systems through Power BI and display data from both AccountsIQ and also that Flow system as well. So you're marrying kind of operational data with your finance data. And this is kind of one that Accord has built as well. So kind of the similar areas to ours, but it's more kind of chart driven, and there's different graphs within there. So you can kind of do what you want within these different environments and how you want to display your data. But if it is something and there's nobody in-house, or you would like somebody to help you out with these different areas, well, you can let us know and we can put you in contact with Accord as well, and I'm sure they'd be happy to help.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
just to
and I
reiterate
think
kind of for people in the Q&A, so once you've created your pivot tables in Excel in Power BI and you're happy with the analysis and the reporting in it, and that connection is already set up, all you have to do is click refresh and it will live update to the new numbers. And it's even a great way to kind of share with people who may not have access to AccountsIQ and to kind of the reports and dashboards on there. As you can share this file with them, they can click refresh and it will live update.
Yeah, 100%. And the Excel version, if you're used to Excel and you haven't used Power BI, the Excel version is so easy to set up. Even just for like your live age debtors and creditors, it takes no time at all to do. But all that detail again, really utilize the Help Hub and the AccountsIQ Academy as well, because that gives you kind of step-by-step scenarios on how to do that. That's kind of everything. Yeah, I think that's everything system-wise and Power BI-wise that we wanted to show, and we hope that was of value to people on the call today. But if we looked, I know there's a few questions there.
Just before we dive into the questions, do you mind me just looping back to Stephen and just talking about maybe some of the Power BI reporting that you've created for your in-house and using it with your Flow operational project management system. And I think that's really, Helen, you did mention this as you were going along, but I think, if you have 2 or 3 systems and you really want to consolidate all that information back, that's where Power BI kind of comes into its own, and the OData Excel. Would you mind kind of giving us a bit of an insight onto how you use it, Stephen?
Sure, sure, Daniel. And I think, Helen, thanks for showing that there. And it's my colleague Dan and his team who have created that. I think 2 things for Power BI. I think the first thing is, and what Helen went through there, excuse me, with the Excel and the pivot tables and stuff is wonderful. And that OData connection is very, very powerful. And we have used that ourselves. But what we found, funnily enough, within the organization is that skills when it comes to things like pivot tables and stuff like that, is limited in certain places. Certainly with me, 100% with me. That's something that's way beyond my realms. I need something that's like, pretty pictures and graphs and things that you can really sort of relate to and things. So hence the use of Power BI within the organization, because Power BI can give you that graphical analysis and it refreshes by itself as well. So it's going off there in the background and it's doing its refreshes. So when anything changes within Accounts IQ, anything that changes there is going to reflect in your Power BI report. And one of the other benefits, I guess, really of having Power BI report, and I'm just going to flash this up because it's got some live data on it, is the ability to have that on your mobile phone as well. So using the Power BI app on your phone gives you that data, gives you that financial information regardless of where you are. One of my colleagues, Roddy, and I know he's on a train right now, and he will be deep in Power BI right now. I can guarantee it because he just loves to have that data at his fingertips. So that's one thing that's really important. I think the second thing, Danielle, is a totally great point. We've got various systems and our customers have various systems as well. So when you talk about Flow, that's our project job costing software. Really important product for us, really important product for our customers that use it as well. So we need to take data from that. We then need to get our financial data that's held within Accounts IQ. And then perhaps some of our customers use other systems, for example, Autodesk Construction Cloud. Just use that as an example where the project management is taking place. So we've got data coming out of all of these places. What we want to do is have a platform where all of that can be brought together and reported on within one suite of reports or one set of graphs and bringing that data together and displaying one one chart, just as an example, which layers all of those different things on it together to give us that true live feed of how our business is performing.
And that's it. It's
Power BI
the
doesn't
live
for you.
element. Yeah, it's the live element of it because people want to have access to data as quickly as possible. And like with Accounts IQ, like you have the ability to integrate systems, and I know you integrate Flow, and to be able to get data out of the system as soon as possible and then get it to the people that need to see it so that those
Sure.
business decisions can be made in a timely manner. Whereas kind of the old finance function, people were manually processing transactions for most of their day and then trying to get data out of the system and creating reports themselves was so time consuming that those decisions were kind of made too late within the process. So now clients have the ability to access that data in real time, which is obviously a real benefit.
Yeah, and if I jump back to when I talked about Accord and the way we are set up and the way Envoy Group's set up, we need to give the people within the business that ability to make decisions nice and quickly. And the way that we do that is by giving them that live data, doing it through Power BI, so they've got it on their mobile phone or they've got it, when they're on the move, so that they can have that ability to look in. So Dan, as I say, Dan and his team within Accord, they've Power BI developers. And one of the things that I love about what they do is they actually want to talk to the customer and get to know what the customer wants to do with their financial information or what the customer wants to do
The
and what
end
the
goal.
systems are. And it's that human element, isn't it? Of sitting down and having that financial discussion around what is it that you want to do with this? And then we can then create the dashboards off the back of that. So there's some simple dashboards that are created that plug and play, off it goes. Or there's something that's a bit more complex, which is around about what other systems do you want us to tap into? What APIs should we use? What data did we bring in order to give you the data at your fingertips? So yeah, really powerful, very powerful.
Definitely, and everybody reports in a different way, and people like to report in a different way. Some people like to use Excel, people like to use the in-system report. So it's kind of giving you as many different options as possible. And I know we have a few questions there as well. Can the dashboards be customized and presented by department? Meaning, can I build a dashboard for marketing function and share it only with the marketing team and senior leadership team? Yes, 100%. So the dashboards are, if you have departments set up in your dimensions at the moment, you can filter the dashboards down by those departments currently. But if you wanted a marketing only dashboard, so that when marketing log in, that they only see their dashboard, we have that bespoke reporting team as well, and they can build and embed that dashboard into the system. So again, that My Accounts IQ section within the system, that will help you do that.
Yeah. Helen, I'm
Yeah,
just looking here. There is a flurry of questions. I think we've
yeah,
got 30, 34. I'm not
yeah,
too sure we'll get through them all in the next 5 minutes.
yeah,
So I suppose if there's anything that jumps out at you, Helen, that you want to, as you're scanning, or Zana,
yeah,
if you're scanning down through it, if there's any kind of
yeah.
key points that are quick answers, shout
There's a
out. But I
few
think,
there. There's a
I
few
think
there that people are saying that there's certain reports or elements that are not available to them. So again, speak to your admin user, and it could be an issue with your, not an issue, but it could be a selection on your menu profile that's associated with your user that's not letting you see that. And ask them to give you access to these particular dashboards and reports that are relevant to you. Will
I,
AccountsIQ ever consider adding forecast functions? So I don't know whether everybody has seen it, but we have an ideas and roadmap section within the Help Hub as well. And within that area, it's there's an ideas section, there's our actual roadmap of what we're currently working on, and then there's also a release section in there. But within there, you can submit feedback. And it's a full circle feedback loop. It doesn't kind of just go into the black hole. It's actually reviewed and kind of bucketed by different functions. So if there's anything like that that you'd like to see in the system, please engage with the feedback portal, because it's literally, we take anything that's on our roadmap comes from feedback from our current client base. But when it comes to forecasting, that's when I talk to clients about the OData connection, because everybody does a slightly different. And if you want to do kind of like scenario based forecasting, you can build your model in Excel and you can live link to AccountsIQ to get your actuals in there. So that can be a really good tool for that. But it's definitely something that we're going to look at.
There is a few questions just about Power BI,
Yeah,
OData connections, and things like that. Just to highlight, Power BI is obviously a Microsoft product. You have to sign up with them and have licenses. It's very standardized now
yeah,
that all other systems and products use it. But
yeah,
you, under your kind of licensing model, you can have it as automatically refreshing throughout the day. And I
yeah,
think that some question was under about, do I have to bring it back out and export it to Excel? If you have a certain license, you can automatically refresh on the online version, or else you can download it into your own desktop, and then you can manually refresh on the go.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. There's one there as well. Will I have all these reports and dashboards if I'm not using your new look? No. So the dashboards are only available within the new UI. And if you're not using the new UI, I suggest you switch it on very quickly. It's
Hmm.
very easy to adopt. I can't remember using the old one now. It's a
Hmm.
distant memory. But there's a lot of added functionality with the new UI that you're probably missing out on. So I'd advise you to switch that on. You will then get access to the dashboards, and any other features that are released will only be on the new UI. So you'll kind of miss out on all those new ones. Another reporting tool that we didn't really touch on, and I know we had a webinar on it a couple of weeks ago, was the new homepage. And that's going to be kind of a mini reporting tool in itself. It's going to be your landing page when you log into AccountsIQ, and it will have kind of tasks. It has activity and insight tiles within there. Hoping to release that before the Christmas period. But that's only available in the new UI as well, and that's going to be a really, really, really good tool. So definitely, I'd suggest that you switch that on.
Okay, super. And I think it's probably about time to wrap it all up there. We've done really well on time. We obviously didn't get to all the 35 questions that were in there, but we will coordinate all those answers, pull them all together and share them with the individuals. And hopefully some of them were answered as we went through and progressed through the webinar. I think when I saw some early ones, I think we hopefully answered them as we went through. So just to conclude, I'm just going to share my final slide, and it's just to wrap up the session essentially. So hopefully, oh no, I think here we go. Hopefully you should be able to see that now. So
Coming out.
really is that all good?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so really just to explore more on reporting, it's just again to focus on that help hub. So if you go into your help hub within the Accounts IQ, you can go into the My Accounts IQ area, and from here you can request a report and dashboard. And I really would think, based on everything we discussed today, that's probably your first protocol to go in if you're looking for something customized and different, and it's all within Accounts IQ. Those lovely dashboards that Zaina went through at the start, you can go in and we can work with you on customizing a suitable one for yourself. If you're looking for some more information on things like your dimensions and looking at reviewing them, I suggest you'd reach out to your account manager. Again, it's all within that help hub option there. You'll have access to Paddy, Chris, and Keith, and depending on who is your dedicated account manager, and you can arrange a call to discuss whether there's changes you want, and then they can then decide they can work with you on the best course of action from there. Also within there, we've got the ideas and roadmap section as well. So that was mentioned as well. Helen just mentioned that a few minutes ago. And again, there were some suggestions in those questions. It would be great if we could do this. Please give us that feedback, and then we can, then we can review it and take it from there. And I think, yeah, ultimately, if you use that help hub and jump in there and pass on that feedback to us. Equally, just on the account manager side, is if you are looking for customized Power BI reports, I would really suggest that you would reach out to your account manager, and then we can put you in touch with the cord. I know Stephen has mentioned that we'd be very happy to organise, that he would be very happy to organise a 30-minute consultation with Dan, who is their the Power Platform manager, and they can talk about discuss your needs and your requirements, and then take it from there and decide what the next steps are. So absolutely, if you reach out to your account manager and say you are looking for an introduction into Accord and a customized Power BI report, we will pass on that link essentially. And just to conclude as well, we will be sending out a follow-up email to this. There was a number of requests for the recording of today's session. So on the follow-up email, we will send out the recording of today's session. We'll also send you a link to that CFO mindset report that I mentioned at the beginning. Also, there's the lovely QR links that you can, QR codes that you can download it here and now. And then also, if there are a few new prospects who are looking at AccountsIQ, I think there's a handful who have joined on today's session. If you're looking to book a demo or go any further, you can scan the additional QR code on the right. Okay, so with that, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who attended today, whoever spent an hour listening to us all chat about reporting. We really hope you got some benefits from it. And then ultimately, I want to say a massive thank you to Stephen, who has joined us as our client, who uses AccountsIQ and all the reporting capabilities within it on a daily basis. And then equally as a new partner of ours with Core Business Solutions, who is looking after custom Power BI reports. So thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Danielle. Thank you.
Okay. And then just one final point that I've just remembered now is just on the ideas and roadmaps. If there's any other webinars like today's session that you'd be keen to hear, because we had such a great attendance today on like specific topics, specific areas that you'd like us to zone in, please put it in the ideas and roadmaps suggestion as well. And we'd be very happy to put a webinar together and get some, experts together on a particular topic, and we can discuss it collectively. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks a million, everyone.
Thank
Enjoy the rest of
you.
your day.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.